And this afternoon, the Office of the Special Prosecutor says investigations have indeed confirmed that an attempt was made to offer money to a section of the majority caucus of Parliament with the intention of influencing their demand over the removal of Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta by complaint dated the 3rd of November 2022. A pressure group occupying Ghana petitioned the OSP to investigate allegations of attempted bribe of the majority caucus of Parliament by a wealthy businessman, as the report is pointing out. Now, for those of you who are wondering what occasioned this, here's the interview that triggered this investigation by the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
Do you take money to change your mind?
Did we take money?
Yes.
You think we will do that? And I'm saying that I want somebody, one person, or anybody.
One person from where?
Anybody associated with any such person who thinks that he can give money. Anybody. If I hear anybody working for any of such persons, or if working for institutions.
We are speaking in a vacuum. Which persons and institutions are you talking about?
I am saying that if you are saying, were we motivated by money? I said no. But I want somebody from where you think they can bring money. Maybe from government.
Yes, but government is the only party in this case. Were you giving money by government to change your mind?
I want anybody from government institution, from institution owned by members of government. If, say, you are a minister of state or you are a government functionary and you own Joy FM, if I hear somebody from Joy FM making an allegation of that nature, that notwithstanding the fact that it's not coming from you, I will come out with information. I want somebody to do that.
Sorry, what do you mean by information? Information that you are bribed or you are not bribed?
I will come out with information that we are beyond the bribes.
So you are approached with bribe?
I am saying that we are beyond that. Our motivation is not the financial inducement. We don't have money in their pocket, but at least we have conscience. We will not reduce ourselves to that situation. And I warn you that though anybody who wants to attempt, please be advised. I'm sure we have sent this message to some people. They have sat upright. And I'm referring to situations of yesterday. Yeah. I am saying that we have sound enough warning to people who want to influence members of our coalition with materialism. It won't happen.
People are trying to influence you.
I have said that. I have proved to people. And I want to challenge anybody. Or I'm saying that if I know that anybody in government owns even a business or owns even Joy FM, and Joy FM staff
owns Joy FM,
comes out to say that, or puts in on a platform, or puts in even on social media, we will see what will happen.
Now, I mean, so you're categorically denying that?
Yes, and I'm not.
Is it for you alone or for other members?
I'm not only denying.
Yes,
I'm challenging.
That anybody has evidence.
Anybody, I'm not denying. I'm challenging, and I want that challenge to come. And
they say your backtracking is strange. It's not. You let.
I have not backtracked. Yeah. I have not backtracked, and I'm not afraid to say it. I have not backtracked, and indeed, I'm only giving respect to what my majority caucus has said.
Well, in the last few hours, the Office of the Special Prosecutor in a document released a couple of hours ago appears to suggest that indeed Asante Achim North MP Kwame Appiah-Kubi, who first gave the hint of this attempt of a bribe, indicated in the interview that yes, there was an attempt, but he was not cooperating with his office. Excerpts of the document now on your screens, pointing out some of the key observations of the OSP, where he's pointing out, under the subsection of observations, that it appears from the OSP's gathered intelligence that a wealthy businessman did in fact attempt to offer money to a section of the majority caucus of Parliament with the intention of influencing their demand for the resignation or removal of Ken Ofori-Atta as Minister of Finance. Now, it also appears, as the Office of the Special Prosecutor is pointing out in this document, that monetary offer was, quote, rejected by the contacted members of Parliament, as his investigations is pointing out. Now, in terms of the conclusion, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has made, a final determination on what might happen going forward, looking at, the various persons that were contacted by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And he points out in page 5 of that very document that reckoning that the Special Prosecutor has, of course, done some investigations on this matter. He's directing the closure of the investigation in respect of the allegations that a well-known and a wealthy businessman attempted to bribe a section of the majority caucus of Parliament. The Special Prosecutor determines that the institution of criminal proceedings at this time against the OSP's identified suspect will serve no useful purpose. The investigations may be reopened should the circumstances and further facts so dictate. In view of this, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is indeed commending the Office of the Speaker of Parliament and all other actors that were cooperating with his office when the investigations commenced. But as of now, it has been confirmed that yes, there was bribery or an attempted bribery, except to say that the Office of the Special Prosecutor cannot proceed with the case now. Let's speak to one man who was very much vocal at the time when all of this emerged. Mohammed Murtala Ibrahim is joining us. His Tamale Central MP also has some concerns about what's happening now. And I recall, Honorable MP, first of all, Happy New Year to you. I recall when all of this started, you raised concerns that this investigation was not going to end anywhere.
Well, good afternoon and good afternoon to your cherished viewers and Happy New Year. At the time I knew that my good friend, Honorable Andia Piakubi, and the 90 members, or the so-called 90 members of the NPP in Parliament, which subsequently became the entire group of the NPP members in Parliament, were just pretenders. For me, it is disgraceful, it is shameful that you have a sitting member of Parliament who alleged, I guess, on your platform, that a businessman came to meet them and attempted to bribe them. Nobody forced my good friend to make that statement. Nobody was holding a dagger behind him, threatening him to make the statement unless he will be killed. He made that statement. Hello?
I'm with you, sir.
Hello?
We just lost you briefly. If you could just make that statement again. Yes.
Remember when he made that statement? I said he made that statement because they knew that some of us had some information that there was an attempt to bribe them. I said this on your program. So it was not to demonstrate independent mindedness. As a member of Parliament in a caucus, he was making that statement to preempt the information some of us had that there was an attempted bribery of the NPP caucus in Parliament. Now, if he made that statement and the Office of the Special Prosecutor is investigating a matter, what is your beef? You remember when the statement was also made that they rejected the bribe, and also when they came out and insisted that the Minister for Finance be forced to resign or sacked. People who work on democratic governance hailed them. At that time, I had senior lecturers on the campus of University of Ghana who hailed them and said that our democracy was indeed growing bounds and leaps. Unfortunately, what they have demonstrated is once again a weakness shown by the legislative arm of our government architecture. And that for me is extremely worrying. Now the question is, what motivated or influenced that so-called businessman to attempt to bribe them? Was the businessman attempting to bribe them for and on behalf of the Minister for Finance, whose dismissal the NPP members of Parliament agitated for? Or was he attempting to bribe them for a specific interest? Now, what it simply means is that anybody, particularly the NPP caucus, can be bribed. Clearly, that is what it means.
Is it as simple as that? This, for Sam, is an indictment not just on the majority caucus, but also the entire House and how you conduct your business. I recall that, yes, indeed, as the minority, you triggered some processes in Parliament, but that was not fruitful as well. So it's not a simple...
Please.
Yes.
You can't bring the NDC members of Parliament on this corrupt act demonstrated and lack of independence by our friends on the other side of the aisle. The NDC members of Parliament have nothing to do with this. We were not those who said that if the minister didn't resign, we were going to take action. Remember, when the NDC moved a motion on the floor of Parliament, and we're expecting our colleagues from the NPP side to support that motion, that a motion of censure, the MPP preempted that motion of censure by holding the press conference they held. If you remember quite well, that morning I granted interview, I guess to your station. The morning they had the press conference, I said that the MPP knew that we're going to come to Parliament with a motion of censure because this was already captured in the other paper. So that press conference they held, demanding the removal or the resignation of the Minister for Finance, was done to preempt what we were going to do because they knew we were going to do that because it was already captured in the other paper of Parliament. So when they did that, they felt that the NDC didn't need to take a shine. As a matter of fact, our interest was not a shine. We were demanding that the man was incapable, was unfit, and he's still unfit to occupy the office of the Minister for Finance. The only reason why he had remained the Minister for Finance is because he uses Oforiata and nothing else. Mind you, he is the only minister whose appointment was waiting for him, even when he was not well. When he was not well, what did the president tell us? I remember on your program, PM Express, one night, I was there with my good friend, Honorable the Subin MP, Honorable Eugene, and he said that they were invited by the presidency. And when they went there, in fact, he said that when they met the majority leader promised that he was going to meet the president. And then subsequently, when the majority leader met them, he said he met the president, and there was nothing positive coming out of it. Subsequently, the office of the president itself said that they were going to take action on their demand. Everything they did, from the Flagstaff House to the majority caucus in Parliament, the MPP members, and that charade of a press conference they held was to deceive the people of this country into believing that they actually meant what they were doing. It was staged, completely staged. Fortunately, my good friend, Honorable Ndiapia Kubi, and the other members of Parliament have been actively participating in this embarrassing stage, demanding that the man be removed.
Okay, so let's look at the way forward now. What would you expect from the Speaker of Parliament? The question as to whether or not a parliamentary probe should be triggered at this point, because the OSP was instructive that indeed a wealthy man attempted to bribe some of the majority members of the House. Now he's confirmed that, except to say the individuals involved would not cooperate. You have the power in Parliament to at least trigger a parliamentary probe into this, because it's casting a slur on the entire membership of the House and not just the majority side.
Hello?
Yes, I'm asking if you would want to trigger yeah.
Must we even be going to Parliament? Is the office of the Special Prosecutor not having the mandate and the power to demand response from Honorable Ndiapia Kubi and those who made those allegations? Because we are talking of corruption here. And that is where I have a little problem with the office of the Special Prosecutor. They refuse to cooperate. Don't they have the powers of a high court? If they do not, then I stand to be corrected. So the fact that someone is refusing to cooperate on an allegation that he himself made on national television, that ends the story. I'm a bit disappointed. The office of the Special Prosecutor, as far as I'm concerned, has the power to force him to provide the evidence. Has the power to do so. So if Parliament is to take this, what are we going to do? In terms of investigation on matters of corruption between the Office of the Special Prosecutor and Parliament, which of these institutions is properly placed to conduct investigation in matters such as this? So, first and foremost, the allegation or the investigation is not saying that you took any bribe. You claim that there was an attempted bribe on your members. The MPP caucus, they are so cheap. They are so cheap that a businessman can attempt to bribe them. Now, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is not saying we are prosecuting you, but we want to know that businessman so that the proper investigation could be conducted, because bribe or attempted bribe are all crimes. Now, you are unwilling to do so. I can only guess that perhaps they announced that they were not willing to, they refused to take this money, and perhaps would have gone back to take the money. Because if they didn't go back to take the money, why are they so scared? Why is he so scared to mention the name of the businessman? A businessman attempting to bribe members of parliament, a whole caucus. And you refuse it. You didn't even report that businessman to the police. You didn't do anything. And the reasons why you held the press conference and made those demands.
So finally, what should this mean?
And made those demands.
So finally, what should this mean what should this mean to the call, Honorable Murtala Mohammed? What should this mean to the call for the removal of the finance minister now, knowing that this report is out and indeed it is now confirmed that attempts were made some way somehow to influence the majority caucus? Would this renew the calls for his removal?
You remember when they held that press conference and this brouhaha that came up about, and also the subsequent information we got that the man was going to be removed. I told you on your program, that Mr. Kenoforiata was not moving an inch. The man is more powerful than President Nana. That is the fact. He is more powerful. Tell me one success story this man can tell as far as managing the finances of this country is concerned. Inflation disaster, debt to GDP disaster, prices of items, everything is in a mess. And this same man, look at the amount of money he's spending in building new offices. $250 million, Bank of Ghana office. You have another GRA, $279 million everywhere. So tell me one success story. The man was appointed to aid the looting of this government, particularly the Oforiates. And that is why I say that he is only the Minister for Finance and remain the Minister for Finance because he uses Oforiata and nothing else.
Okay.
This man is not moving an inch. I said he wasn't moving an inch. You remember I said he wasn't moving an inch? He's not moving an inch. The only reason why this man may go is when he decides that I'm going now. Nothing can push him away. He's more powerful than President Nana.
Well, I'm not too sure of that. You are saying that. We'll take your word for it.
But than President Nana, bless. His ministerial position was waiting for him. Was waiting for him. Even when he was not well, it was waiting for him. Have you ever seen that in this country? That someone's position is waiting for him.
Okay.
So if I say more powerful than the president, you think it's a joke?
Well, we're grateful for your time, Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed. He is Tamale Central MP, and Happy New Year to you. Thanks for joining us. Well, still on corruption, President Akufo-Addo is now facing criticism for contracting private firm KPMG to audit the contractual agreement between the Ghana Revenue Authority and Strategic Mobilization Limited, SML, instead of opting for constitutional bodies such as the Office of the Special Prosecutor or even the Attorney General. Critics argue that KPMG lacks that proper, credibility to investigate this matter. The directive, as we know, follows the documentary titled The 3 Billion CD Lie by the Fourth Estate, alleging that a $100 million annual contract awarded to SML for monitoring the petroleum industry is not only a duplication, but does not constitute revenue saving in their view. Well, here's investigative journalist and producer of that very documentary, Manasseh Azure Awuni, questioning why the president failed to take some punitive action in the face of glaring evidence that this documentary presented before him.
Yes, the special prosecutor should go into it. Parliament wants to go into it. But if the president wants to act at this stage, there is enough evidence to have taken certain actions without this auditing. The question is, in 2 weeks, what will KPMG be able to cover? It took us about a year to do this investigation. And I don't say that anybody that goes done a lot of the work already. But in 2 weeks, will KPMG be able to speak to all the interested parties, interview relevant players, including independent people who have knowledge of this technical subject matter? Will he be able to visit the NPA, look at the structure they have, go to the depots, visit SML, and all cover every other part? They say they should go to the oil production sector upstream. Are they going to go to the drill ships to find out, okay, what, or the oil ships where we produce oil to find out the system that are already in place? Are they going to go to the gold mining companies to look at the setups, the gold rooms, to see what the PPMC and GRA officials, their roles in the various mining sectors? So the question really is, if you're giving someone 2 weeks to come out with this, what you call an audit, not an investigation, it might as well perhaps rely mainly on the administrative processes. Did this contract follow due procedure? Yes, they say, well, it went through PPA approval and all of that, but we know some of the most fraudulent deals in this country have the backing of the Public Procurement Authority, and the PPA itself was caught in a scandal. So we may end up ticking the administrative boxes and going through documents and perhaps not getting to the bottom of this. And that is what I am wondering, what the end game of the president is. Are we going to see what the so-called clearinghouse thing, or the president really wants to act? So as to whether they will do a good job or not, or whatever will come out of it, we are all going to be monitoring, because the issues are out there. And the question we are asking is, as we stand, SML Ghana has been given a contract that will ensure that every liter of fuel that is consumed in Ghana, the company has a percentage that where they will receive as money. Every barrel of fuel that will be produced in Ghana, SML would have a percentage. Every ounce of gold that is produced in Ghana, this company will have a percentage. And at the end of the day, it is entitled to over $100 million every single year. That is 1.2 billion Ghana cedis every year. The question is, what is this company doing to deserve this?
Well, very interesting questions by Manasseh Azure Awuni. Meanwhile, the minority in parliament is describing this move as an attempt to only whitewash the outcome of the investigation. So on Twitter, the minority leader, Dr. Kaysel Atufosid, explaining what possibly might be informing this, and we'll be getting some reactions to this shortly. It reads that President Akufo-Addo's appointment of KPMG to audit the so-called revenue assurance agreement between the Ghana Revenue Authority and Strategic Mobilization Limited, SML, has come too late in the day. Parliament has already directed the Finance Committee to audit the infamous agreement, and the committee is actively seized with this matter. The president, who should have led this fight in the wake of the scandal, is playing catch-up, since Parliament has also directed the Ghana Revenue Authority to suspend all payments to the company, that's SML. This whitewashing attempt by the president in the name of audit will not dissuade Parliament from looking into this matter to stop the siphoning of state resources into the private pockets of government officials and their crony business partners. Joining us now is Joseph Dindiok Penka, former Attorney General, who's joining the conversation. Thank you so much, sir, for spending some time with us here on the polls. First of all, your take on what it is that the minority believes this is an attempt to whitewash. What's the legal remit, speaking sincerely, about the position SML holds now in terms of their findings, their outcomes, and the implications on the way forward? And kindly unmute for us so that we can hear the points you're sharing with us.
Yes, thanks to you for this opportunity to have this conversation with you and your cherished viewers across the globe. My brother, I have listened carefully to your intro, and I also listened to the release by the Honorable Atu Forson. And I want to state here and at the beginning and at this particular stage, without equivocation, that there are processes for resolution of disputes as far as architecture is concerned as a civilized society. In our constitutional architecture and etc., yes, it is true that when suspected crimes are reported, you make reference to the police or IUCO or the Office of Special Prosecutor or any other investigative body to investigate and unravel whether or not acts of criminality have been committed. Even in some cases, you can make reference to SHRAJ and etc. I do agree that these are all possible ways of resolving this. The president has directed that an audit be conducted, and so you have to look at it within the remits of what is an audit. And the audit is going to establish whether or not the procedure and processes leading to the contract, and then whatever has been consummated and etc., whether there are irregularities or acts that need further investigation to unravel whether crime has been committed. That's the purpose. When an audit is actually conducted by the Auditor General, eventually it is fed to the public, and then we make an assessment. And where crime is established, it is referred to appropriate bodies for investigation. So what His Excellency the President has done is simple. KPMG is a reputed organization, and we all know that. What they are going to do is to establish the facts as they are. And if in their investigation they establish acts of criminality and etc., it goes beyond their remit and it goes beyond their purview. And there is reference made to the president, who would then have to necessarily refer him to an investigative body, i.e., the Office of the Attorney General or the Special Prosecutor or the police or IUCO, etc. Anybody, reputable constitutional body that can investigate and establish the veracity or otherwise of the establishment of crime would then trigger the processes. If KPMG establishes that indeed some acts of impropriety have been committed.
Okay, so for you,
there's nothing wrong with it.
This is more of a fact-finding mission in your view.
Absolutely. KPMG does not have the power to punish anybody. It doesn't. It's a fact-finding. So when they establish the facts, and among the facts, they establish that acts of impropriety
yes. If you could take that point from me again. Yes.
At that particular stage, reference would then be made to any of the constitutional bodies to trigger investigation, and where crime is actually established, the appropriate charges are actually preferred against appropriate persons and they are put before a competent court. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with it to say that KPMG's investigation is much ado about nothing. I disagree with that. What rather we should be interested in is the product of what comes out of the investigation of KPMG. As a public, we should be interested in that. And when His Excellency the President receives it, it should be put in the public domain for us to look at it. And if anything has been established, then even if His Excellency the President does not make reference to a constitutional body to trigger criminal investigations and etc., an ordinary citizen can then make a complaint on the basis of the content of that investigation or fact finding. And then when it is established, then the processes are triggered to ensure that whoever is culpable is punished in accord with law.
In fact, a number of Ghanaians have been sharing their views on this, including the former Auditor General, Daniel Yaw-Domelevo. Fortunately, he's also joining the conversation. Honorable Dindiok Penka, just hold on for me briefly. Let's also bring him in. And Daniel Yaw-Domelevo, Happy New Year to you as well, and thanks for joining us. You had the former Deputy Attorney General there expressing the view that this is more of a fact-finding mission. Why not perhaps hold on, look at the outcome, and then we could proceed from there and say, well, these are the findings, let's prosecute or otherwise?
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you and all the members of your panel. I've not seen some of them for a very long time.
You miss those days, I guess.
Yes. Let me say that I disagree with the Honorable former Deputy Minister of Justice on his approach. We must understand the fact that we rule this country within a legal framework, and thankfully, he is a lawyer. The supreme law of this country has established for us the office of the Auditor General, seized with the mandate to audit the entire public service, including Ghana Revenue Authority. Beyond that, a law has been promulgated to establish office of the Special Prosecutor. Before then, we had Yoko, and even in the Constitution, we also have charge as a terror. An investigation has been done. And if we are not satisfied with the findings of the investigation, and we want to do further work, be it an audit or an investigation, we have sufficient institutions or institutions existing already on the consolidated fund. Let me draw attention here. What pains me about government is the fact that whenever there is a wastage or a reported wastage, they waste more money, which are not necessary. Why will the president not activate Article 187 Clause 8? He's a lawyer, you should look at it. Article 187 Clause 8 provides that in the national interest, the president, with advice from the Council of State, may ask the Auditor General to conduct an audit. So why will the president not just refer this to the Auditor General? Because if the Auditor General is looking at all those things, he is seized with the power to even disallow the transaction. And if payments have been done unlawfully, he has the power under Article 187 Clause 7B to disallow and surcharge, and that will serve our interests better than going
but
for.
Let me ask: is it the case that there's no room? There's no room. Perhaps say KPMG does its independent audit and submits perhaps the findings to the Auditor General to exact action on. Is that a misnomer?
It's a serious misnomer, because Auditor General has that mandate already. Yoko has a mandate already. OSP has a mandate already. Unless the Auditor General tells us that they don't have the capability or the capacity to do this. Let me give you an example. When I was Auditor General, immediately I came to office, the same pressure was put on for the audit of the medical stores, the central medical stores. If you remember the central medical stores, it is the same KPMG who did that audit. Where is the report up to today? Nothing was found. In fact, I referred that report to Gloria Akufu. And Gloria Akufu came back and said that he cannot use this report. In fact, it pained me that that audit was given to KPMG, because I think the auditors may do far better than what KPMG did. So when we are being told that the reputable, what makes KPMG the reputable? There are several other reputable firms. So you should have said one of the reputable, but not the reputable. So it is just to throw dust into our eyes, and then they can give the contract to KPMG. At the end of the day, mark my words, nothing will come out of this.
And is that not prejudice to say that, well, nothing will come out from
of course, yes. That I've seen a lot of them. You too have seen a lot of them. A lot of investigations have come. At the end of the day, what happens? We don't see anything. But the point I'm making is that at the minimum, the Auditor General, when he comes across unlawful transactions or payments which are contrary to law, has the mandate to at least stop it or surcharge so that we can get something out of it. But it is passing a different way. You want the KPMG to finish and now give it to the Auditor General. Did the Auditor General tell you that he doesn't have the capacity or the ability to do the audit? So to me, I don't see.
Okay, there's one more question I'll put to you shortly. The issue about what Manasseh has been talking about, that there is enough evidence, at least for now, for the president to exact sanctions or for some surcharge or of a sort to take place. I'll take your thoughts on that shortly, but I just want us to clear the constitutionality out of the way. Joseph Dindiok Pemka, the point about what the Constitution says and the powers given to the Auditor General. You have the former Auditor General pointing out that clearly there's a constitutional provision. The audit service should be looking into this.
Is there any there any provision in the Constitution or any other law that also says that contracting an independent firm to audit a particular entity or establishment is unlawful and unconstitutional? Is there?
But which one is proper to you? I mean, if you were managing the state, you spend money contracting a private firm to do an investigation when you have a state agency.
You see, I am saying that my brother, in making his statement, marked me wrong and said he didn't agree with my approach. I'm saying that is there any law, to the best of his knowledge and belief, or both, that says that contracting an independent auditing firm to audit a state entity is unlawful and unconstitutional? If there is, it should be pointed out to me. You see, in talking about procedure, you may have your choice of procedure. Another person has his choice of procedure. And I've stated to you that if KPMG comes up with a report, myself and you will have that report and we'll critique it. And if we find in that report acts of criminality or suspected acts of criminality, and it is not referred to a constitutional body for investigation and prosecution, we as citizens can trigger investigation into the matter by a state entity.
Let's look at precedents then. The president has, on a number of cases, referred some of his own appointees to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. He's done that before. In other cases, he's referred to other constitutional bodies. Why is it the case that in this matter, the SML contract, which involves the finance minister, he's referring it to another institution?
Let me tell you this. First of all, you keep referring to it appropriately. You keep referring to it appropriately as a contract. This is a contract that exists between the entity and the state. And if there is a contract that exists between the entity and the state, then there is no appropriate entity than an auditing firm, a reputed auditing firm that is invited to make an assessment and do an opinion.
And not the audit, and not the audit service. And not the audit service.
There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm not saying that KPMG is the only entity in Ghana. I'm saying it is one of. There are many entities. Yes, of course, we agree. But I'm saying that, you see, where I think we should fault the president is if the report comes out from KPMG and clearly indicts the process and then the happenings leading to during and then after the consummation of the contract, that indeed certain persons have been indicted by their overt and covert acts in carrying out or consummating this particular contract, and therefore acts of criminality have been committed as a result of their conduct. Then the process will then be triggered there, and the constitutional body will come in and take it up to ensure that the appropriate things are done and punishment is exacted to persons who are supposed to suffer punishment. But at this particular stage, KPMG, as we all know, has no mandate whatsoever to exact punishment. It's a fact-finding one. And when the facts are found, they cannot be hidden. It will become a public document. I'm saying that if it becomes a public document and acts of criminality are committed, we have the mandate as Ghanaians, if the president doesn't refer to a constitutional body for investigation, for us to trigger the processes. But to rubbish what has happened, as though it is not one of the processes available that one can choose to actually ensure that justice is carried out and then audit is done to ascertain the veracity or otherwise of the commission of crime, is unfortunate.
Okay.
It is true. We could just have triggered the process in the constitution and then the processes in Article 87, and then we go ahead from there to do the investigation and establish crime or not, surcharge and etc. I agree that is one of the ways. But making KPMG investigate and later on come out with a report for you to further refer to is also another way. So you cannot say that the strict jacket, this is the only way we must go. The other ways are not tenable. You can't say so.
I get that. Just conclude on that for me.
I'm saying that the president has chosen a particular leg.
I see. Here's what
will be the outcome. Rather jumping into conclusion and saying that a much ado about nothing, and then that nothing will come out of it. I mean, that's prejudice. And an unfair this and that.
All right.
Let us rather take things slowly and give the benefit of the doubt to the president so that he goes through his process. At the end, we can critique and say that, well, we had said that he should have done A or B, he didn't do, he went this way, it didn't work. Or we say, hey, Mr. President, thank you. You went through this. You've been able to establish what is just to Ghanaians.
All right.
So let's wait and see for me and give the president the benefit of the doubt for that body to establish whether or not crime has been committed.
Granted on that, but the point about what has been established so far in this documentary, and that's the next phase of conversation I want us to have. Let me start off with you, Mr. Daniel Domela, for the point about what Manasseh is referring to, that he has indeed uncovered a number of practices that should have been punished by the president already. Do you see any, looking at what it is that his story is about, his investigations have uncovered?
Yes, I've heard Manasseh, but I've not seen the evidence. So I cannot say that, yes, there is evidence or there are no evidence. But the long and short of it is that Honorable Kwenka knows that it's a matter of choice, but it's not all the choices which are value for money. We are talking about value for money. We should stop wasting government public resources by making choices which are so expensive and time wasting. When we are fighting corruption, we must go straight and direct to the point. If it is anything to go by, what Manasseh has already said, there is evidence. So Auditor General is seized with Section 16 of the Audit Service Act. He can do a special review.
In fact, I was about asking you that question, that would you want, and of course we know that he's not subject to the control of anybody now, but would you want to see him trigger some independent or perhaps another audit into this while KPMG runs this?
There are three options. The Auditor General himself, under Section 16 of the Audit Service Act, on his own will, can decide to look at it in the national interest. Again, the Audit Service Act provides that the Parliament can also ask the Auditor General to do a similar exercise. The Constitution and Article 187, Clause 8 of Article 187 provides that the President can ask the Auditor General to do this. Why that is a preferred route for me is that the Auditor General, and let me remind our honorable friend, that the investigation may not come out with a criminality per se. There may be illegality, but not a criminality. They may not comply with the laws of procurement, etc., but it may not necessarily be a criminality. So disallowance and surcharge is a civil right which is provided under the Constitution, which the Auditor General can exercise to save us money, even if the person is not going to be prosecuted. Now, what is going to happen if the report comes out and there are issues to be disallowed and surcharged? Now we are going to throw that to the Auditor General and say, look, an audit firm has done this work and these are the findings. So use it and disallow and surcharge. Well, the Auditor General may accept and do it. He may also say, oh, look, I'm not interested in doing it. So I don't know why we want to beat around the bush as if we don't have limited resources. We need money to run this country. And when there are established institutions who are already subsisting on public funds, why do you want to go for a private company? Then let's collapse audit firms. Auditor General's office, so that we can go for your private firms. The choice of private firms to do work which already the law has given to public institutions is a bit disturbing, to say the least, my brother. You are asking me whether any law prohibits. No law prohibits that. There are several laws encouraging or providing for. The law does not say president cannot engage a private firm, but there's so many laws, from the Constitution to the Audit Service Act to the PFM Act, etc., including procurement law itself. If there are procurement breaches, and let me also explain, being a former Auditor General, one thing which worries me anytime they bring private audit firms to come and do this type of assignment is that they are not very conversant with the rules in the public service. They are not. We assume that they are professional accountants, and so anytime I meet them, I tell them that public financial management is premised or guided strictly by law,
right? And
they are not conversant with these laws. So if we go into the procurement aspect, they may come and say, yes, there is approval from the Public Procurement Authority, for instance. But when you tell me there is approval from Public Procurement Authority, I will look at whether the approval is in line with Section 66(3) of the Public Procurement Act. Many times the private the private auditors, once they see approval, they are happy. They think it is okay. Right. But I disagree with those type of approvals. So let us not assume that we don't understand these rules of the game. if it is for nothing that we establish the Office of the Auditor General, the OSP, as well as the YOCO, then let's collapse them. And then you use your private firms. But this, to me, is unnecessary wastage of public funds.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, too. And for you, Joseph Ndiyok, the way forward, Manasseh arguing that, in fact, there is enough evidence to proceed with some punitive measures, even as we, go with the KPMG report and await the outcome.
Enough evidence established by who? Manasseh Azure Awuni is not a state.
By the fourth state, yes.
No, Manasseh Azure Awuni is not a state entity. He's not an investigative body. He's not known by the law. So what the evidence he has, he can only be a witness at least if the state decides to mount prosecution. That is if criminality has been convicted. Against the persons that he, Manasseh Azure, thinks that they are actually culpable. If we reach that particular stage, he will simply be a witness. But to establish whether or not a case has been made and to prefer charges against individuals and persons must be determined by a constitutional body, not individuals. It is determined by the Office of Attorney General. It can be determined by the Special Prosecutor or any other state entity that has been mandated by law to commit or try to investigate any matter that comes before it. So what he has is simply evidence the state can use, but it is not sufficient. And remember that the determination, if you look at Article 88 of our Constitution, is very clear that prosecution, the power to prosecute are solely in the hands of the Attorney General, and the Attorney General alone exercises that. But we've carved out a portion of that is corruption and corruption-related offenses to the Office of Special Prosecutor. Then economic and organized crimes, we've carved out that, and we've asked that investigations be conducted by YOCO and reports submitted to Attorney General for assessment, and then other state entities. So in the end, what my brother Manasseh is holding, at best, can only be evidence for him to provide as a witness if a case is established by a state entity. But for now, because no state entity has investigated and come up with any sufficient evidence, I will consider at best what he's holding as some evidence that can only help the state in establishing a case, but not strictly that we have reached a stage where a crime has been committed by what he has investigated.
For now, the president has frozen the contract. Should we terminate?
Well, that would be, in my opinion, perhaps he's frozen it in anticipation of the report that will come out of KPMG. And if indeed it does indict the process and etc., the next step will be for him to abrogate. Well, and you remember that if a contract is actuated by fraud, then whatever it is that is standing on is a nullity. Fraud vitiates everything. So if in the end it is actuated by fraud, the other side will have no right or remedy in a court of law if fraud is established against them. And I think that if we reach that stage, the president will have only one option, that is to order that it be terminated, and it will be done.
Okay, and that's where you, the lawyers, will continue the conversation from. But we're grateful for your time. Joseph Ndiyok, former Deputy Attorney General, joining us, and also Daniel Yaw-Domelevo, former Auditor General, joining us. Happy New Year to all of you. We're taking a break here on the Pulse on the Joy News channel. When we get back, we're looking ahead to that vetting process of the parliamentary aspirants of the New Patriotic Party. Quite a lot has been happening. We'll touch base with our correspondents across the country and also hear from John Mahama, who's delivering his New Year message. You want to hear that shortly. And the election season is boiling already as some supporters of the New Patriotic Party have besieged and vandalized property of the governing NPP in Bimbilla as the vetting of aspirants in the constituencies begin today. The supporters, led by the constituency organizer, are alleging that attempts have been made to remove Alhaji Ahmed Nuhu Saruk, who is the only contender to the Defence Minister, Dominic Nitu, from the vetting process. The supporters destroyed lots of properties from the party office and bent tires at the premises to register their displeasure. Here, some of the irate youth in Bimbilla resisting alleged attempt to skew the elections, as they allege, in the favour of the Defence Minister.
No, we don't need him. We want the two of them to protect. What I want that's democratic. That's democratic. Really, the MP claimed that he's working for the constituency. Yes. Why is he running away from contest? If he's saying you are working for the people, you know you have the base air, the grounds. Why are you running away from the contest? From competition. We are in the democracy system, and you have to come out and then choose whoever wins and will represent the party, and we will accept and support the person. Right now, we haven't gone to betting, and we have already removed his name. And accepted on what basis? We want to know the reason why the name is being.
Well, so some of the excerpts of the incident that transpired last night. As we speak to you, of course, there's a lot unfolding in the area. We'll be getting to that community shortly to bring you some updates. But let's switch over to the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, where there's quite a lot happening. And also, we understand that at the party's headquarters within Asukwa, there's been an address by the party. Nana Boachi Adam is there for us. Let's listen in.
Just now, so the energy minister is now with us. Honorable, how was the process for you?
It's a party process we all have to follow.
And so generally, how was it, the process itself?
It was good.
But for the first time, people are quite surprised that Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh, you have people contesting with you.
The first time I was in Parliament, I was contested. The second time I was contested. It's only the third and fourth time that I wasn't. So I don't see the surprise.
And so going into 27th of January, how does it look like for Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh?
Very good.
And then subsequently to 7th December?
Wonderful. Extremely.
Well, how does it look for your party? Are you breaking the 8?
Definitely.
But people are quite disturbed looking at the current economic situation.
People vote for other reasons apart from economy.
And so people are not going to look at the economic situation going into 2024?
People will compare between the candidates, their economic history and ours. So don't worry.
Does it look different from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and John Dramani Mahama?
Does what look different?
Does the work that they have done, former President John Mahama and Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, does it look different?
I think you have to compare John Mahama with Nanado.
Quite an instructive message there in terms of comparison between John Mahama and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And it's time now to cross over to the camp of the National Democratic Congress. We'll get back to the NPP because the former president and now flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Mahama, is delivering his New Year message.
We all now know that drastic action is needed to reset our nation on the right path. That process must start in earnest with the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. We have a crucial election in December, and I'm happy to present myself as the man with the experience Ghana needs today to take us out of the doldrums that we have been plunged into. We require nothing short of a team of experienced Ghanaians committed to righting the wrongs of the last 7 years and working together with the citizenry to build the Ghana we want, a prosperous Ghana with many opportunities to benefit everyone without discrimination. As we start the journey in this new year, I'm here to offer hope to you all. I'm committed to repairing the damage done to our economy and creating a brighter future for all Ghanaians. We must all work together to bring about the change that Ghana so desperately needs. Let us stand united in our quest for a better future for ourselves and generations to come. This is because the heartbreaking tales of a significant population of our people giving up on Ghana due to this rudderless leadership are too many to recount and can be too costly to carry. But we are assured that no matter how long darkness reigns and darkens our hearts, our minds, our pockets, our businesses and investments, the sun will rise and shine even brighter. As a result, we can look forward to the new year 2024 with renewed hope and optimism. My brothers and sisters, I want to speak directly to you through this broadcast to share my vision for the future and outline some of my key interventions and initiatives. Initiatives that will help repair the damage to our economy, create well-paying jobs to fight the high 14% unemployment rate, and meet our youth's aspirations. These initiatives would also revamp businesses and productivity, by implementing a 24-hour economy. My team and I, under the auspices of the National Democratic Congress, have developed a comprehensive plan which will be shared with businesses, academia, civil society, and the youth to create jobs and provide opportunity, and skills development. While providing jobs for the youth, we will also encourage business ownership and entrepreneurship amongst them. In April 2025, the new NDC government shall introduce a new budget to support as an incentive for job creation. At the heart of my vision for economic revitalization is the implementation of a 24-hour economy. This innovative policy seeks to maximize productivity and efficiency by extending business hours and operations around the clock. Doing so will create a more dynamic and vibrant economy that benefits workers and businesses. A 24-hour economy will increase economic output and create well-paying jobs. It will also contribute to a more inclusive and accessible society, giving people the flexibility to work, to study, to shop, and enjoy leisure activities at any time that suits them best. The 24-hour economy will succeed because we shall provide improved security and public safety, which will require massive recruitment into the security services and private security operations. My government will provide cheaper and more reliable electricity for those participating businesses based on a time of use tariff system. Companies that sign up for the 24-hour economy will benefit from modern smart meters calibrated to charge a lesser tariff per kilowatt hour for power that is consumed during off-peak hours. Businesses that subscribe to the 24-hour economic policy will receive further tax incentives to reduce the cost of their operations and enhance their competitiveness. Financing support will be provided to strategic agro-processing factories and manufacturing companies through the Ghana Exim Bank to boost production, for import substitution, and for exports. As President, I shall set up and personally chair an accelerated export development council to boost Ghana's export drive, especially under the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme and the African Continental Free Trade Area agreements. As the Trades Union Congress opined, the 24-hour economic policy is a game changer. Evidence suggests that running 24-hour economies has propelled many great nations, such as the United Kingdom, the United States of America, and South Korea. Indeed, South Korea is living proof that with the right leadership, a country can transform from underdeveloped to highly developed. It happened because in 1960, the leaders of that country took the strategic decision to turn it into an export-led economy, more precisely into an economy that grows by exporting manufactured goods. To do so, they transformed the economy into a 24-hour one. This initial boost in productivity and the determination to find more export markets turned that country into a highly advanced one. Their GDP per capita grew from $158 to $6,600. Introducing the Mahama 24-hour economy is the right thing to do for Ghana, especially considering the state of our country today. It will boost our manufacturing industry and transform our country into an export-led economy, providing the world with goods made in Ghana. Introducing the 24-hour economy will significantly increase the number of well-paying jobs available to our young people. This is extremely important because the young people are the ones who will build tomorrow's Ghana. Transforming Ghana into a 24-hour economy will increase the productivity of our industry, services, and agribusiness. And last but by no means the least, a 24-hour economy will offer Ghanaians increase
And apologies that we seem to have lost connection to the New Year broadcast of the former President John Dramani Mahama, who's now the candidate of the National Democratic Congress, pointing out a number of issues, including the 24-hour economy, that I think we've restored connection now.
In modernizing this sector in order to maximize productivity and sustainability. By introducing well-established cooperatives, advanced farming techniques, embracing digital tools, and promoting agribusiness, we shall create new opportunities for farmers, improve food security, and bolster economic growth. I am determined to lead this transformation for the benefit of our nation and as a farmer myself. We'll also establish and deploy farmer service centers nationwide in all districts to make essential farming and attractive to younger people, younger Ghanaians especially. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to these interventions, I am also passionate about the fight against corruption and uprooting poor governance to ensure that our resources are used responsibly and ethically, building trust and confidence in our institutions. We will hold to account members of this administration who have abused the public trust by misconducting themselves in office. But more importantly, we would also allow unfettered space for the anti-corruption agencies to deal with anybody who abuses the public trust under my administration. By strengthening anti-corruption measures, promoting good governance, and upholding the rule of law, we shall create a fairer and more equitable society where everyone can thrive. We will reduce the size of government in our bid to cut down on expenditure. We will combine ministries and remove government agencies that are duplicating each other. In other words, we in government will also tighten our belts, even as we call on our people to make whatever sacrifices are necessary for our national revival. As we look forward to the year ahead, I want to assure you, the people of Ghana, that I'm fully committed on behalf of Ghana's most development-oriented political party, the NDC, to deliver on these promises I have made. Ladies and gentlemen, democracies cannot thrive without quality and trusted leadership. Economics cannot grow in the absence of quality and trusted leadership. Willing nations can only become great if they have quality and trusted leadership. When things are tough, true and trusted leaders set up a vision that inspires people and gives them hope. And this hope provides us with the strength we need to move forward. When hope is gone, the people who destroyed your hope must also go. They will go on December 7th, 2024. Without hope, danger lurks everywhere you turn. And this is why the fundamental duty of any true leader is to instill hope where there is none, or to revive it when it is gone. A true leader must cause positive change by example and action. I promise to lead the change, and I invite you to be part of the change. When times are tough, a true leader's fundamental duty is to develop a vision that inspires and brings people together. That is another reason I am offering myself and the NDC to you this year. By working together, we shall overcome our challenges and build a more prosperous and inclusive nation. I call on all of you to join me in this endeavor. Lend your support and actively engage with our outlined vision. This call to national duty is bigger than any individual interest. Change is coming. I'm confident that together we will change the direction of this country this year on December 7th, 2024, and build a brighter future for Ghana, a future we all can be proud of. Let me assure you that your votes will count because we shall protect and secure them. Fellow Ghanaians, I thank you for your resilience, your strength, and your perseverance. Despite the difficulties we have faced, I am inspired by the undying spirit of our nation. In this new year, let us move forward with hope and determination, knowing that a better future is within our reach. Together, we shall build the Ghana we want, a prosperous and just Ghana filled with opportunities for all. Together, we shall build a Ghana that we all can be proud of. I'm ready to lead this charge, and I trust you will join me on this journey towards a brighter tomorrow. I thank you, and may God continue to bless our great nation, Ghana. I wish you all a very happy new year. Thank you.
The victory of Muhammad.
Dramani Mahama delivering what he terms as a New Year message. Obviously, as a politician, he would lace that with what to expect later this year as the country heads to that crucial general elections for parliamentary and, of course, the presidential slot. and this is indeed your election headquarters capturing all of that for you. A recap of some of the key issues he's talked about, promising to go after corrupt government officials if is, voted into power, and also allowing, corruption institutions to probe some of these appointees who might, of course, do same. And we do know that the 24-hour economy has been much talked about by the National Democratic Congress. The John Mahama administration is promising to work assiduously on actualizing that. These and more will feature in our subsequent bulletins on Prime later this evening, but we're still focusing on some other political activities, especially with the New Patriotic Party also carrying out the vetting for its parliamentary aspirants across the country. In the Greater Accra region, my colleagues have been dotted across many constituencies, especially in the Ayaso West Wuogon area, where we understand that the process would have to be on hold.
So, yes, that is the Tema West parliamentary candidate, hopeful, who will be speaking to us live on Joy News. Welcome, you're live on Joy News.
Hi, thank you. And
how did the vetting go?
Well, it was a friendly conversation and an interaction of party people. Well, having worked for this party in the constituency from the polling station level to being the constituency chairman of the party, virtually the panel members, which included the former majority leader of our party in the constituency, Honorable Abraham Oseidu, knows my involvement and my role within the party all these years. I became a first polling agent for him then when he was contesting. So it was a friendly conversation, and how the regional party wants me to know how I'm going to increase our voter margins as against the NDC in our last elections.
Should you win, you will have a Herculean task of helping your party to break what you call the 8. Do you think, as things stand now, your party has the capacity to break the 8?
Well, as it stands, we are in pole position to breaking the 8. The youth of Tema West have seen development being done by our current MP and the people and the human capital development he's put into the constituency now. And I think that continuing from where he's left off and explaining ourselves and selling our message, we are in pole position to breaking the 8 come 2024.
Your General Secretary, Justin Kodia, recently mentioned that if you are a minister and you feel you're tired, kindly resign. Do you share in those sentiments?
Well, I believe that he said that due to what he's heard or what he's seen sitting in the high office of the General Secretary. So I would re-echo his message that if you're a minister or a CEO working for this government, you should first and foremost understand that it was the party that gave birth to the government, and then party is going into an election in 2024. So we need them to be up and doing and up to the task to enable us sell their message from their various ministry, department and agency to help us break the 8.
Have you personally seen some ministers who you feel are tired and should hang their boots?
Well, I feel everybody is doing wonderfully well, but from where the General Secretary sits, maybe he sees more than I see. So it's important I re-echo what my General Secretary said.
Thank you very much. Musbao, so that is the parliamentary candidate hopeful for the New Patriotic Party at Tema West, and we will now speak to the coalition chairman of the New Patriotic Party at Tema West. Right. Okay, you've been here for quite a while. How has the process been so far?
Oh, it's been good. For me, as constituency chairman, I believe that the nature of the constituency and the way things are going in the constituency, I've decided to give everybody a level playing field. I'll make sure the processes are followed. Whoever wins, it's my duty to make sure I make the person the MP of the constituency.
All right. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And of course, that was the update for the Greater Accra region. But in the Ashanti region, members of the Asokwa Municipal Assembly in the Ashanti region have declared their support for the incumbent MP for the area, Patricia PHA, who's seeking re-election after 3 times in Parliament. Ahead of the party's parliamentary primary vetting, the Assembly members held a press conference to declare their support. So let's take a listen to the presiding member for the Asokwa Municipal Assembly, Elliot Fosu Bana.
We have met here purposely to inform the populace or the residents of Asukwa Municipal Assembly, they need to maintain and retain Honorable Madam Pachisa PJ, the incumbent member of Parliament. This is as a result of numerous projects, developmental projects, that we have seen in her time as a member of Parliament. You can compare to our time when we were with KMA and when we got the municipal. As a member of Parliament, she played an integral part of the municipal, and the municipal too, the MP is a member of the municipal. Is ex-officio member. Ex-officio member means he doesn't have voting rights, but she takes part of the assembly activities. If everything that emanates from the assembly, the MP is integral part of it. And she's one of the MPs that has passion for local governance. And no wonder she's always present at our meetings. She has never missed our meetings. And when she comes to meetings too, her contributions are fantastic. She makes sure she directs us with experience from Parliament what we are supposed to do. I remember when we were doing our budget, her input too was fantastic. And all these things have brought us to where we are and what we are seeing. Talk about development, we can talk about security, we can talk about health, we can talk about road network, we can talk about education. All these aspects, all these branches of development, she has done something there. As my brother said earlier, the West Convener said, and I already said, when we talk about security, she has been able to provide motorbikes to Asukwa Police Command. She has been able to build police station, not post, at Dumpase. She has also provided street lights to electoral areas. Every time occasion, she provides street lights to us, and we also send it to the various communities. And you can see lights, though they are not enough, but she has done her part. On the road network, you and I know that she has done a lot. If had not been the problem that has confronted Ghanaians, connection with the Sino Hydro, Asukwa have been fantastic. But notwithstanding, I can say percentage-wise, almost 60-70% of our road has been tied, and the rest we are working on it through the secondary city and other government projects which she is spearheading. We have done a lot of things when it comes to road.
Well, in the Volta region, the chairperson of the party there, Makafi Kofi Wanya, has advised the media to guard against tribal politics heading into the 2024 general elections. He's urged the media practitioners to use their media platforms to enlighten the citizenry on the provisions of the Constitution concerning the formation of political parties to address some misconceptions. Speaking at the NPP media soiree in the Volta Regional Capital Hall, Mr. Wanya described as unfortunate attempts by the National Democratic Congress to win the sympathy of electorates in his jurisdiction by preaching ethnic alliance.
Whatever they do, whether good or bad, whoever is placed on the ticket of the NDC, they have to vote for the person. And that the NDC party is a party for the voter region. And I think that that is not the position of the Constitution of Ghana. The Constitution of Ghana is clear on how a party is formed. Parties are formed based on membership across the entire country. Registration has to be done in various districts or constituencies. NDC cannot say that voter region and the people of the voter region are compulsorily they should be NDC. No, this is the education that we have to give the people of the voter region, that the only thing that will make you vote for somebody is the development that the person is bringing to you. Is the report that the person is bringing from Parliament back to you. We saw what happened during the district assembly elections, where some assemblymen were kicked out because they did not bring any development to their electoral area. So if that is the way to go, we'll see that a lot of the MPs will not sit in Parliament and think that once they are able to win their primaries in the voter region, they are good to go. And I think that is a misconception that has been driven into the minds of the people in the voter region, that the NDC is for them. But that shouldn't be the case.
North Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has lauded the contribution of the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, which he says has resulted in the constant reduction of inflation, stability of the cedi against major currencies around the world, and above all, the reduction in corruption. Speaking at the annual party meetings held for constituents at the Koligu area, Ambrose Derry noted that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has demonstrated that he is indeed capable of leading the country for prosperity and should not be denied that opportunity of bettering the economic conditions of the people.
Interior Minister Ambrose Derry averred that the Nandam constituency under his reign as a member of parliament of the area has given a facelift to roads in the area which hitherto were in deplorable conditions but has now been opened up, increasing the economic well-being of the people.
Well, Nandam development has been really fast, and you agree with me, you are journalists who have been working here, and this village you have come to. You have come to this village a number of times. You could not access this village in the rainy season, especially from Hamley or from the Nandam direction, because there will be floods. You could not come through. Culverts, now you have bridges. It's tarred all around. Now the road has been tarred. When I was regional minister, it was from Naduli coming through Laura. It came, it's tarred. We've moved it from Laura into Nandam to Hamley. That's the highway. Now you come into Nandam. When the president was sworn in 2017, he came here and cut the sword for urban roads, and you would agree with me that most of the roads in Nandam have been tarred. They have not just been tarred, but drainage systems are being worked on, and it's ongoing now, to the extent that, apart from what we are doing, we've had a variation of the project to get 8 kilometers from Brutu into Lambuse. You see that beginning to clear the roads.
Ambrose Derry also spoke on the provision of potable water, electricity, and support for women.
We have several water projects all over the place, and we are still working. We are working hard to make sure we get more water points. Electrification, I believe we have almost covered all the communities. In this year's budget, we are provided for rural electrification, and we are going to use the budget to complete ongoing projects and make sure that every community in the Nandam municipality is covered. You also realize that we now have a bank, ADB Bank. Nandam was served by a rural bank, which did a great job right from its establishment in the early days, but there's a need for financial support for small and medium scale enterprises. And the bank has been opened. If you visit it, you see the bank is doing very well and is targeting. I'm especially interested in the women folk who have got these small boxes in the villages where they contribute. If you give our women loans, you are going to empower them. And once our women are empowered, you would have the best economy in our community.
The Nandam legislature urged Ghanaians to vote to retain the MPP and Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia as president of the country to continue with the good works of the MPP.
He is a man who has the capacity to improve this country. He's already shown by the digitalization, and that is one way of fighting corruption. And I can give you a few practical examples. Before the digitalization, if a contractor wanted to renew his business documents, he had to go by air or by road to Accra, check into a hotel, go to the ministry. Difficult to find a director. He finds someone down there. He needs to grease the person's arms. Now, thanks to digitalization, he's paid online. His license is issued online. So corruption in that area eliminated.
Reporting for Daily News, Rafik Salam, Kokoligu.
And away from politics, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authorities was witnessing a flurry of activities as car owners are seizing the opportunity to secure the coveted 2024 number plates for their vehicles. The lively scene reflects the annual rush that accompanies the advent of a new year, where individuals are eager to adorn their vehicles with the latest registration tags. Joy News spoke to the DVLA Accra Regional Manager at Kuma Mensa to gain insights into the registration process. He's provided detailed explanations to that. So that will definitely bring you some updates on that story, but we take you now to the OT region because the police have arrested 21 persons last night in Nkwanta for breaking the curfew protocols. The Interior Minister Ambrose Terry imposed a dawn-to-dusk curfew on Nkwanta and adjoining communities late last year after clashes in the area led to the killing of at least 12 persons. Just yesterday, another person was shot dead and 4 others sustained various degrees of injury. Of gunshot injuries, as we know, and separate attacks within the Odomi Chela community. The 4 were amongst the 25 head porters who were attacked by unknown assailants who were loading a truck with a bag of Gary. Speaking to the incident on Newsnight, Municipal Chief Executive for Nkwanta South, Bright Lewa, described the situation as worrying as he appeals to the warring factions to back down.
Imposition of curfew, like I said, the destruction of property and life in the main town, Municipal has ceased. And as a result of all the patrols and the good work that the security services are doing, you understand? So that's what I said. Now it has moved out of town because of the presence of the security, and we have devised means and ways of trying to handle this. And
you can assure that even though it's gone out of town, it's a situation that you have under control. Are we calling for more security? Are we beefing it up? What exactly is the way forward then?
We've put additional measures in place, which I will not be able to come out directly to say this is what we have called for, this is what we have done, and all of that. So, but for me, the most important thing is that I'm still appealing to the stakeholders involved to ask their people to leave the bushes if they are there and to put their arms down. So we return to the negotiation table.
Well, at the national level, though, I'm sure the Interior Ministry, amongst others, national security, are concerned about the situation. Are they helping in any way? And are you calling for more support, military intervention, amongst others, really? I'm sure
yes, I can say they are helping, they have helped, and they have helped a lot. Because it is from them that even the men on ground have come down. They deploy the men to come and assist and all of that. So they are helping, but like you said along the line, I think we need more support, and we are in talks with them. We need more support in several ways. So we are in talks with them.
And thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. We'll be right back. And that's all we have for you in this package of The Pulse. I'm Blessed Sugan. Log on to myjournalline.com for more stories. We'll see you again. Next is Let's Talk Showbiz. Thanks for your time.